Hi lovely viewers and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we will evaluate and predict how the month of April is going to turn out for all zodiac signs. I know this video is a little late than I would have liked to upload, yet there is so much to uncover this month as there are monumental planetary transits happening this month, like the Jupiter transit into Pisces sign and the nodal axis change of Rahu and Ketu into Aries and Libra respectively, as well as Saturn changing its sign by the end of the month of April. There is a lot to talk about that will change the trajectory of your life this year by the onset of this month of April and all the planetary transits happening. If you are interested to know more about your sign, then keep watching further and please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you indeed like what you hear and find value in this information. Thank you, and let's start this video off. But before I get into personalized sign predictions, I just want to preface that this April transit forecast for all signs is happening on the basis of your ascendant sign. Now, if you are at all not sure about what your ascendant sign is, fear not, because I have attached a link in the description box that will help you to understand what your ascendant sign is and see the predictions for it accordingly. Beginning the video with the April predictions for Aries ascendant natives, we see that as displayed on the screen, there is a lot of focused energy on your first house of self as the Sun, Mercury and Rahu is transiting your first house. What this means for you is that this month itself and as well as the next 18 months of Rahu being in your first house, you are going to be your own first priority. That is because Rahu is a planet that brings focus onto whichever house it occupies, and being present in the first house of self and physical appearance can cause Aries natives to bring changes to their appearance, be it either by undergoing any procedures or as simple as getting a haircut. You also can possibly be revamping how you look by undertaking an active lifestyle or any new physical pursuits. Now, Sun and Mercury being here for the month of April also shows us how you can become more confident and communicative during this period. People are going to be looking at you with a completely different lens of reverence and admiration like never before, which sounds extremely exciting for Aries. We can also see that with the presence of Ketu in the 7th house that your interpersonal or intimate relationships can become a little difficult to maintain and cultivate like before, which can cause you to become a bit disconnected from your partnerships and rather focus your energy on bettering yourself first. Mars today transits your 11th house, which shows that you can be connecting and revisiting with your friends and acquaintances more often than before during this month, which can allow you to increase your network circle and open doors to possibly higher monetary gains as well. Be a little wary of getting into any disagreements or swift heated words with your friends or someone online, as you can be predisposed to doing so. Later at the tail end of the month, Saturn will be joining this Mars as well in the 11th house, showing that some challenges can be brought upon in relation to any fights within your friend circle that leads you to feel distant from them. This can also be the case in terms of elder siblings, since that is also represented by the 11th house significations. Now, one of the best transits of the year happens in your 12th house when Jupiter transits Pisces. What this means for you is that you could take interest in undertaking long journeys to foreign lands and possibly to learn more about spirituality and meditation. You can also involve in charitable activities, and this can also lead you to have better harmonious conditions at home as well, with higher economic gains during this transit period of Jupiter. Joining this beautiful transit is another benefic planet Venus, which transits your 12th house, that can show your yearning for love increasing during this period and possibly also being able to meet someone you would like on one of your travels. Also, you could be spending more this month, especially maybe on items of self care and beauty with this transit. So, Taurus natives, for you, the April predictions start off with the energy amplification happening in your 12th house, with the Sun, Mercury, and Rahu transiting your 12th house. Next 18 months, Rahu transiting your 12th house will bring you a sense of escapism or longing for solitude, as Rahu is amplifying these themes of the 12th house. You could also see an uptake in your expenses and spending during this transit, which can possibly come about as your focus shifts more towards traveling to foreign places and adopting spiritual practices. There also needs to be care taken in terms of your health, since the 12th house, being the house of addictions and hospitals, can lead to certain instances regarding the same, which you must try to avoid. With Sun and Mercury transiting the 12th house in April, you could be feeling misunderstood or more aloof than usual, which can lead you to be wanting to be more alone and indulge in certain recreational activities. As Mars will be transiting your 10th house from today, which can lead you to be more focused and passionate towards your work, but can also lead to possible disagreements or fights at the workplace, which you need to be careful about. At the tail end of the month, Saturn joins this Mars in the 10th house, leading to some sort of fights or arguments with higher management or administration at your workplace, creating a sense of hostile work environment. This can be aggravated with Ketu's transit in your 6th house, leading to a feeling of discontentment with your work and disconnected with the outcome of the same, leading you to further finding it hard to maintain a usual routine and your health, which you need to be vigilant about. Otherwise, you can get into some sort of physical predicaments that will be difficult to diagnose and repair. One of the best transits of the year, that is Jupiter's transit into Pisces, is happening in your 11th house, which is already ruled by Jupiter for you, hence amplifying the effects of this transit. You can increase your monetary gains as well as your network circle during this transit of Jupiter. Your relationship with your friends, acquaintances, and elder siblings can also have a positive effect on them. And finally, with Venus also transiting your 11th house of higher gains, makes the possibility of reaping profits for you even higher, as your ascendant lord itself is Venus. A harmonious equation with your friends and elder siblings can lead you to generating greater gains by expanding on your network circle. For Gemini natives, the predictions for April are that you could be increasing your profits and network circle and friends, as there is a great deal of amplified focus on your 11th house. With Rahu's 18-month transit through your 11th house, you can see yourself being able to network with a higher amount of people, which can lead you to a greater benefit and profits monetarily. In this month, Sun and Mercury will also be joining Rahu by transiting your 11th house, which further shows that your communication and confidence displayed in larger group settings is going to be appreciated and rewarded as well. Your ascendant Lord Mercury is transiting 11 places away from itself, further showing higher possibility of monetary gains and wish fulfillment. On the other hand, though, Ketu is transiting your 5th house. That could lead to some discontentment in your romantic life and relationships, hence further showing that your friends are going to be your greatest strength during this time. You must also be careful about gambling or any speculative gains, as it could lead to greater losses than you have expected. Mars today transits your 9th house, showing a possibility of passion towards learning about new cultures and their practices. You could be possibly also butting heads with your father during this transit. If you are a student looking to move out internationally, your interest in doing so will be aggravated further. But as Saturn in the tail end of the month joins Mars transiting in the 9th house, you could face difficulties and restrictions possibly by your father, for such plans of moving abroad and learning about other cultures. People pursuing their masters or higher education can find it harder to concentrate on their academic excellence during this transit. When one of the best transits of the year comes around, that is Jupiter entering Pisces, for you it will be transiting your 10th house, showing that you would be favorably received and looked upon by your seniors at the workplace. That can lead to higher responsibilities and possible promotions as well. Your impression and image is going to be positive during this transit, making you feel luckier than usual at your workplace. When Venus, being another benefic planet, transits your 10th house, it shows that you are going to be the favorite of people around you during this transit. And this will favorably work in the settings of your job and workplace, as people around you are going to like you even more, leading to greater monetary benefits. Your focus can be pushed towards ensuring harmony and pleasantness at your workplace and the teams of people that you work along with. For Cancer natives, in the month of April, your 10th house is getting amplified energy as Rahu, Sun, and Mercury transit that house of your chart. What this means for you is that your priorities are going to be changing and focusing more on your work as opposed to your general preference of family. With Sun and Mercury also transiting this house in April, it definitely seems like you are going to be recognized for your efforts at work, and you are going to be looked upon favorably by your seniors. Also, in case you have been preparing for any government exams of sorts, this could also mean a favorable result for you if it releases in this timeline of April. You are going to be adopting a more rational approach and outlook to things rather than being emotionally influenced by stuff. On the other hand, though, as Ketu transits your 4th house of family and home, it can mean that there is some sort of discontentment or distance that has come about in your familial relationships, which is forcing you to focus more on your work, to feel like you have some semblance of control over situations. If you were living with your family, this can also mean that you move out into your own place to escape certain circumstances. Mars will start its transit through your 8th house today, which can show that your physical relations with your partner can get invigorated. Also, there is a possibility of rifts and disagreements with in-laws arising during this transit of Mars. And when Saturn joins this transit through the 8th house with Mars, by the end of the month, it can show that you might also feel like things are being kept secret from you in terms of shared finances with your spouse. And this could create fights or misunderstandings. When one of the best transits of the year, that is Jupiter transiting Pisces, happens through your 9th house, this can mean that you can start to feel luckier in case of higher education and international travels. So, if you have been planning to undertake a master's program in a foreign country, then now is your chance to pursue that, as it will appear to be more approachable during this transit, which is happening until almost 2023. When Venus conjoins this transit going through your 9th house, you will get material support from your father for pursuing your master's and any other educational qualifications. Also a possibility of you traveling for luxury or pleasure and not just for education. Chances of taking a vacation to an international place of choice also becomes more certain. For Leo natives, in the month of April, your 9th house is receiving amplified energy since Rahu, Sun, and Mercury are going to be transiting the 9th house. The transit of Rahu through your 9th house can bring forth the possibility of you connecting with foreigners by going to international vacations or by pursuing educational programs to study abroad. You will also see your interest gradually increase in learning about different cultures and languages of the places that you visit during this period. Especially in the month of April, with Sun and Mercury also being conjunct this transiting Rahu, this will cause you and your relationship with your father to be the prime focus of yours right now. and will help you to create better channels of communication with him. On the other hand, as Ketu transits your third house, you will start to see some misunderstandings or disconnect between you and your siblings start to appear. That will impact the communication between you and your siblings, or maybe even the cousins. You can become more inclined towards spiritual pursuits rather than pursuits of pleasure. Also, feelings of inadequacy of self effort can be felt, triggering imposter syndrome to appear. As Mars transits today through your seventh house, displaying possibilities of conflicts arising between your partner and you, be it in an intimate relationship, marriage, or business. Your attention and energy is going to be occupied in resolving such issues, and as Saturn joins this transit through your seventh house, this could further dampen on any of your passionate pursuits in a relationship, as the weight of responsibilities and maturity will be expected out of you to overcome any obstacles being faced in your partnership. When one of the best transits happening this year, that is Jupiter entering Pisces, will be transiting through your eighth house, this will show that the turbulence that you will feel in your life right now, your in-laws can come in support. Longevity of your marriage or partnership is ensured. This can also show in case of a business that your shared resources could rise exponentially. This transit also shows your interest being developed in researching more about occult sciences like astrology. When Venus transits through Pisces, and for you, the eighth house, it will show that despite the challenges and ups and downs, that you will be able to overcome these difficulties. But one of the partners could potentially be withholding something from the other partner in terms of shared material resources and gains. For Virgo natives in the month of April, your 8th house is getting amplified energy as Rahu, Sun, and Mercury transit through your 8th house. Since your ascendant Lord Mercury will be transiting 8 places away from itself, you must take care of your health. And there's a possibility of unforeseen circumstances and ups and downs to occur before you unannounced during this period. As Rahu begins its 18-month transit into your 8th house, you can start to see the general theme of expect the unexpected to start to occur in your life, wherein the least expected gains and losses will occur to you to put you onto a new path of regeneration and transformation, just like a proverbial phoenix rises out of the ashes. You are being put through circumstances that will make you either succumb or fight to stay afloat, hence bringing the greatest changes and endings of some sort in your life during this period. You can also feel yourself indulging in passionate liaisons if you are rather single. Also, in a partnership, the spark might feel ignited. Thoughts of mortality and insurance could also be pervading your mind at this point. On the other hand, though, with Ketu transiting your second house, you can feel a disconnect from your family and their values. There is a possibility that your savings might be dipped into that might diminish its original value. You can also be negligent when it comes to your food intake during this period in time, and you have to be careful about this since Rahu's focus is on your 8th house of death and rebirth, which in no way you need to be scared of, but just be careful about. Mars is going to start its transit through your 6th house today, showing that there's a possibility of conflicts arising in your workplace, but you will be able to overpower and overcome your opponents. But when Saturn conjoins this transit through your 6th house, you can feel some sort of divine help in terms of your health and conflict, as Saturn does help to slow down these factors, yet you will still need to be careful about your health condition and workplace dynamics nonetheless. When one of the best transits of the year, that is Jupiter moving into Pisces, happens as a transit through your 7th house, you will feel joy and contentment in your partnership and marriage, as they will become your greatest support system and guide during this turbulent time. to help you tide across. And also, when the next benefic planet of Venus joins this transit through your seventh house, further goes to show that your marriage or relationship or even a business partner is going to be playing a pivotal role in creating harmony in your life during this uncertain time or feelings of distance from your family. You are going to be lucky in this department and will surely feel the love during this period of time. For Libra natives, in the month of April, you are receiving an amplified energy in your seventh house, as Rahu, Sun, and Mercury all are going to be transiting your seventh house. What this means for you is that during Rahu's 18-month transit, you are going to feel like your relationships are of utmost priority to you. You will be using your energy mainly to focus on creating a harmonious environment that will make you feel at peace, knowing that the relationships in your life are taken care of, since they are anyway of utmost importance to you, being the seventh sign of the zodiac and exhibiting the energies of the seventh house. Hence, this part of the transit is going to feel synonymous to your being. But where you are going to find struggle is when it comes to paying attention onto your own self, as Ketu transits the first house. So you might start to feel disconnected from who you feel like you are by sacrificing and adjusting to your partner's needs and accommodating them to achieve peace. You need to be careful in this regard, because if you do not focus and love yourself first, there's a possibility of facing troubles when it comes to one's self-identity, confidence, and more importantly, health, as the first house signifies you and your physical self. Mars is going to start its transit through your fifth house from today, and this transit is going to make you feel invigorated in your passion and romance. But then there is also a possibility of fights and disagreements happening with your partner. If you do have children, this could also mean conflicts with your children and not being able to see eye to eye with them. As Saturn joins this transit in your fifth house by the tail end of the month, your romantic spirits might feel dampened by the weight of the responsibilities and obstacles being put before you. This will also further aggravate your discontentment or disconnect with your own being. When one of the best transits of the year, that is Jupiter transiting Pisces from your sixth house, you might feel lucky and protected by divine energy when any instances of enemies or ill will at work or legal obstacles present themselves before you. You could also find solace during this time in your pets, which can further be seen when Venus transits your sixth house too, showing that your perception in people's view is going to be positive, which might irk some people who wouldn't want that. But your specificity and precision is going to be applauded and acknowledged by your peers and superiors during this period, which can give you high responsibilities and powers at work. For Scorpio natives, in the month of April, you are receiving an amplified energy in your sixth house, as Rahu, Sun, and Mercury are all transiting through your sixth house. With Rahu's 18-month transit starting off with focus onto your sixth house shows that the matters of the sixth house will govern the trajectory of your life in this period. What this means for you is that your professional life is going to be a focus for you right now. You are going to be recognized by your peers and superiors for the precision and specificity that you bring to your work environment. While this is a good thing, yet this amplified acknowledgement could upset people who wouldn't want to appreciate your traits, and hence the prospect of encountering enemies and people with ill will at work might increase, and this could also have the possibility of raising any possible legal issues. So you need to also be careful about focusing on your health, as troubles with anxiety and digestive issues could be faced during this period. With the Sun and Mercury also conjunct this transit through the sixth house with Rahu, this will make you ever more appreciated and acknowledged at work for being an analytical and well-spoken individual and employee. On the other hand, with Ketu's transit through your 12th house shows that your life's motto is to grind and hustle, but this might cause you to not be able to rest and check in with yourself. You are going to feel occupied at all times, and this for a person who seeks their privacy and solitude like a Scorpio generally does is not good news. So, you must try to strike a balance between work and rest in order to not fall sick. Meditation and yoga might help you greatly during this period. When Mars starts its transit through your 4th house today, you might feel like if there's any plans for acquiring some property or making changes to your home, these might be put into action. But there is also a possibility of disagreements happening at home with family in relation to the pressures felt at your work. So the balance between home and work is feeling lost, causing fights to erupt. And when Saturn joins this transit through your 4th house at the tail end of the month, the situation at home might become even more precarious and will need to be handled with care so as to not cause any irreparable damages. When one of the best transits of the year, that is Jupiter transiting Pisces from your 5th house, then you can feel some sort of rekindling of your romantic relationships. And if you do have children, then this time will also serve lucky for their education as well. And once Venus, being the other benefic planet, joins this transit through the 5th house, the romance quotient between partners is surely going to rise and be harmonious, as well as your relationship with your children might also feel more wholesome. If you are single, then this could also mean that a new love interest can develop into your life during this phase of the transit. For Sagittarius natives, in the month of April, for you there's an amplified energy in your 5th house, being channeled by Rahu, Sun and Mercury transit happening through your 5th house. With Rahu's transit of 18 months putting a focus on your 5th house, the possibility of you getting into some sort of romantic relationship with a completely unusual partner according to your standards or previous choices can be seen. Or indeed, it might also be a foreigner, as Rahu signifies that. You might be interested in taking risks and indulging in gambling and speculative gains like cryptocurrencies and NFTs, for example. In case you are a parent, then your focus is going to be diverted towards the educational pursuits of your children. Sun and Mercury transiting in conjunction from the 5th house shows that you will be recognized for your personality and communicative abilities during this transit period, which can even come in handy in your romantic liaisons. On the other hand, Ketu will be transiting your 11th house, which shows that you could be feeling distance or disconnected with your friends or elder siblings. That can further motivate you to pursue a romantic relationship to overcome the feeling of loneliness. You can be feeling doubtful of your own wishes and aspirations during this time period and could be trying to evaluate your dreams and life path right now. Mars will be starting its transit through your 3rd house today, and this shows that your relationship with your siblings, be it elder or younger ones, may not be so harmonious and will be going through conflicts right now. For perseverance and confidence in self-efforts is crucial, as malefic planets transiting 3rd house as that of Mars and Saturn that joins this transit later shows that you are passionate and fearful in equal measures about your capabilities and efforts. You can feel that your communication in general might suffer in terms of oscillating between either an outburst brought by anger or aloofness and halted communication brought by fears and insecurities, as Mars and Saturn transit through your 3rd house. When the most benefic planet transits through your 4th house as Jupiter enters Pisces, your relations with your mother especially, but also your close family, might become better and guide you through any obstacles that you're facing during this transit. The possibility of investing in real estate is also possible, which is further justified by Venus's transit into your 4th house, leading you to find solace and peace at home. This can also show that you could be looking at renovating your house right now. For Capricorn natives, in the month of April, there is an amplified focus on your fourth house as Rahu, Sun, and Mercury are transiting your fourth house. With Rahu's 18-month transit through your fourth house, you can notice that your focus is being called more so towards your home and family during this time. You are seeking comfort and security at this point, and this will create a polarity for you, Capricorns, as you are known to be one of the most hardworking and career oriented signs. Yet, during this period, as Ketu transits your 10th house, you might start to feel disconnected from your career aspirations as strongly as you always seem to have before. You are going to care less about people's perception of you and more about your own opinion and what your near and dear ones consider of you. Mercury and Sun transiting your fourth house again reiterates your focus and enhanced communication with your family members, leading to feeling fulfilled right now. Not be a cakewalk for you, as Mars is today going to begin its transit through your second house, which also shows that this month the possibility of you getting into fights and conflicts with your family members and their values is on the higher side. You also need to focus on your eating habits, as those could also suffer with your aggression. Be careful about your speech and not upsetting your family members by using harsh words with them. At the tail end of the month, when Saturn joins this transit through your second house, the situation in relation to anger and restlessness might increase further. You might also need to be vigilant regarding your savings, as those might be affected due to various circumstances. As one of the best transits of the year, that is Jupiter entering Pisces and transiting your third house, you will start to feel more connected with your siblings. Your self-effort and confidence will also get a positive boost, making you feel luckier than usual. People might want to hear you talk more, as your insight into different topics will be intellectually appreciated. When another benefic planet, Venus, joins this transit through your third house, you might also consider traveling to nearby places with your family and siblings for vacations, and this would further enhance your bonding and love. You can also try to pursue courses to enhance your abilities and talents further during this transit. For Aquarius natives in the month of April, your focus is going to be amplified towards your third house, as Rahu, Sun, and Mercury will be transiting your third house. The 18-month long transit of Rahu through your third house is going to enable you to pursue getting further knowledge of things that you have been always curious to learn more about. Your communication is going to be enhanced during this period, and your confidence is going to be constructive in ensuring your self-efforts are focused on further to hone your skills. You might also feel especially bonded and focused onto your younger siblings during this transit. With the Sun and Mercury also transiting this house, you will certainly feel fulfilled by communicating with people and are similarly going to be acknowledged for your speaking prowess and curiosity. You are going to imbibe the chatty Cathy vibe this month, especially loving to indulge in gossip and fact hoarding. On the contrary, when Ketu transits your ninth house, you are going to be facing obstacles and feelings of disconnect from any ideas of pursuing a formal higher education in any educational program abroad. Your relationship with your father could also be affected during this transit, making you feel like that you don't see eye to eye on matters of education, philosophy, and spirituality. Long distance travels and vacations are also going to not materialize with the ease that you will be able to pursue a short journey travel or vacation nearby. As Mars starts its transit through your first house, you can feel revitalized and more energized than usual. This can help you materialize any plans or aspirations to adopt an active lifestyle or to train for your physicality. But at the same time, you must be cautious about feeling more agitated and angry than usual, and can be prone to be aggravated outbursts during this period of transit. When Saturn joins this transit through your first house at the tail end of the month, by the virtue of being your first house lord, will reiterate the themes of feeling revitalized and focused on the physicality of your form. Still, the feeling of being agitated will be present. Hence, it's best to consider twice before lashing out during this time, as you're predisposed to doing so according to the planetary transits. When the best transit of the year, that is transit of Jupiter into Pisces, happens through your second house, you will feel bonded and harmonious with your family and their values. You might also see that you are able to expand on your financial stability and security during this period by increasing your savings. You must be careful about eating habits and try to avoid consuming too much sweet or rich food, which is again reiterated when the other benefic planet Venus joins this transit through your second house to replicate the themes of eating poorly and increasing your savings further, of the two most benefic planets conjoining together to expand on these themes further. For Pisces natives in the month of April, your focus is going to be amplified towards your second house as Rahu, Sun and Mercury transit through your second house. The 18-month-long transit of Rahu through your second house shows that you are currently looking for stability and security in your finances rather than taking any speculative risks. You will also feel the connection with your family and their values to be a focus for you during this transit. Your choice of food might also go through some unexpected changes wherein you develop tastes that you never tried before. You will also see your confidence of communicating to enhance during this period as well. When the Sun and Mercury join this transit through your third house, you will see that your family-oriented focus and vocational oratory skills are going to be further enhanced and enjoyed by you. On the other hand, as Ketu transits your 8th house, you are going to feel like you are unprepared for unexpected changes that could arise in your life as you seek stability right now. Your life is going to be unpredictable in ways that make you prepared to undergo the ups and downs we all as humans have to, as nothing in life is certain. So, as soon as you start to accept the unexpected things, it will be easier for you to adapt to it gradually. Mars starts its transit through your 12th house today, and this can show that you can feel your passion being invigorated in your relationships. You have to also be careful about wasteful, irrational spending, though that can lead to losses if not kept in check. This transit can also prove troublesome for your sleep and health to an extent, so be vigilant regarding that too. When Saturn joins this transit through your 12th house, you could feel that certain fearful dreams are keeping you from sleeping soundly. The peace of mind and solitude that you wish to keep might be hindered through obstacles by this transit. You have to try to help others selflessly, which might help you to overcome these effects of the transit. When the best transit of the year, that is Jupiter entering Pisces, transits through your first house, there is literally not one sign who is luckier than you in this regard. As Jupiter transits through your first house of self, being the ascendant lord of your sign too, nonetheless, you are going to feel blessed with good health and luck. You will feel your interest to arise in spirituality and philosophy during this transit, as well as this will be great for your educational pursuits. When another benefic planet, Venus, joins this transit through your first house, you are going to notice people's opinion of you to be favorable, and someone special might also harbor romantic interest towards you as well. Your personality in general is going to be looked upon as charming and intelligent. And with all these predictions of the cosmic connections happening by all planetary transits initiating in April 2022, some of which go on until October 2023 as well, have been explained in detail for all signs. I would highly appreciate if you heard the predictions for your signs to like this video and subscribe to this channel. I will be grateful for your show of support. Thank you for listening, and I will see you soon with a new video. Until then, take care, you all.